Alexa, turn on Dynamic Duo. Hey, the weekend is upon us. Yay. You know, sometimes you just got to be glad for the days you can get that just allow you not to be at work. So, I don't know what that does. What does that do? You have archived hidden. I don't know what that means. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I've been working on Yeenoghu or Yeenoghu or whatever his name is. He's I'm actually today I think I'm hoping to start putting on some highlights on this guy. Okay, so here's the guy we're working on. He definitely needs some highlight work. I want to do a little bit more on the bone here. I'll probably do some touch-ups and bring that around too. These are purposely designed to have a metallic kind of reflective look. I'm going to try and do a little bit more with the teeth. I even thought about even just making them silver to kind of make the teeth look more, I mean, these are fake, right? They're just things that are on his armor. They're not actual skulls. Now these kind of probably could be skulls, but I still painted them like they're not. Like that belt buckle thing of his and these two things hanging off of his pants, only because they kind of look like they're just skulls, but they're also way I don't know, they just look interesting. So I don't know how long I'm gonna go. It's 5:10, probably 6ish, 6:30ish. I don't know. Let's just see how it goes. We'll just go with the flow and start putting some highlights on this guy. So he looks pretty cool, I think. But it'll look better when the eyes and the eyes and the hair and everything has some highlights and starts pulling things out. I started putting some brown on last night, which I've got to finish today. On all the leather work he's got going here. So he's got a fair amount of leather work. And I'm just going to try to start touching that up. And I am using kind of a contrast paint version. Now this brush I'm using is not, it's very thin. So I don't know, we'll see how that works out. Alexa, turn on Dynamic Duo. Alexa, turn off dining room light. So when you hear me, if you ever hear me say it and the light doesn't come on, it means she misunderstood and my wife's like, why did the light just come on? Because that's what she hears. For some reason, Dynamic Duo and Dining Room Light sound the same to Alexa. I don't know. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. There is just something weird there. Trying to find a good contrast paint that works on dark colors. Most contrast paints don't work very well on dark colors. They just don't carry enough pigment in the dark, and they're so translucent that their color just doesn't stand out when you put it on like a dark color. Finally got a game night where I get to go participate this week. I don't actually have to work. Yay me. I don't know. Actually, I might not. I think, actually, I don't know. Is it, now that I think about it, I may actually have something going on tomorrow. May not actually be doing it. I'm just thinking about what our schedule is. Because my family's doing a little birthday celebration-ish thing for me. I couldn't remember if it's tomorrow or Sunday, though. I gotta look. My birthday was last weekend. My wife and I went out of town. That was fun. We went to Leavenworth, Washington. We had a good time. It's just us, nobody else. We, just kind of walked through Leavenworth. We do it. We've been doing that the last few years. I don't know if we'll do it every year, but at least for the last few years we've been doing it. It's fun. Just get away, spend some time together. We went to go to one of those. We went to one of those dinner movies theaters. You know, the theaters where you go and you can order food. This one was kind of weird. It was really just an expensive theater. It was a nice theater. Don't get me wrong. There was only three people in the theater. Me, my wife, and some other lady that was just there on the same row as us. She just sat on the end. Uh, it was kind of funny. It was a good movie. We saw what was it? It was like some, I don't know. I want to say like a chick flick. Oh, no, no, no. It was not a chick flick. It was what's that movie with Hilary Swank where she's trying to help the guy and get the bills paid for a surgery for his daughter. I forgot what it's called, but it was really a good movie. I don't think that counts as a chick flick, but it was a good movie. I on the other now, just don't get me wrong. I like chick flicks. I like all of them. I like, if I go by myself or go with friends, I usually go to guy shows. Like uh, you know, superhero movies, action packed movies. I don't usually go to movies by myself, but if I did, it's usually I'll go see what the shows that appeal to me specifically. But I actually don't mind any other kind of movie. I am very open-minded when it comes to movies. I think all of them can be entertaining. Um, I'm kind of the same way with music. I think even music has its moments of all genres. Not a huge fan of like headbanger, hard rock kind of stuff. But some classicals actually good. I don't usually listen to it constantly because I find it kind of sleep inducing. Um, so it's not like I listen to it regularly. I just don't necessarily. I think some of it is very good. It's actually kind of fun to listen to when it can be very, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Motivating? You know what? Speaking of, um, you ever remember the group? I don't even know if they're still performing, but there's actually two groups that are like them right now. Nothing but Strings. I actually got their first album, and they actually I first heard of them during watching America's Got Talent, which I don't really watch anymore. But they uh, they are I want to say a pop violin group. They're a pair of they're guys, brothers, I think, that play violin, and they had some really cool songs. I used to love running to their songs. There's some great rhythm. They play it on all their music's done on violin. Um, Preferably, I prefer the non-vocals. They have a couple of songs on their album that they sing. I don't think these guys sing all that great, and it doesn't always fit. But they play some, like Thunder, I think it's called. Um, they just have some really good songs on. But in time, I learned of another group called Black Violin, who actually is a lot more. I want to say proficient. Proficient's not the word. What's the word? Somebody who produces a lot of content. Um, anyway, they're actually really good too. They have some pretty good stuff. But it's like a pop. They basically play the violin, and they're like it's pop style. It's like fast. I want to say pop, but it's just upbeat. It's not like your classical violinists. They can be the music's very fast, and I think they've even they do a fair amount of string destruction, where the strings on their violins get pretty beat up during the course of their songs sometimes. And so yeah, But those are like the kind of groups I really like. Now, I would listen to music on my streams just to kind of show you what I like, but that's not allowed. So, I mean, you can listen to the unlicensed stuff, but I'm just not a huge fan of most unlicensed music, or what do you call it? Non, what do you call it? Non-copyrighted music, or whatever you call it. What I have thought about playing is one of the things is mood music, like D&D type stuff. I should do that. Just play it because it'd be cool. And I have I purchased they're basically sound effects used during D&D. Sounds of battle, that kind of thing. If I could set me up a playlist of that, that'd be kind of cool. Especially since I do a lot of D&D style figures, you know. But otherwise, I'm just kind of swinging it, you know, going without music. I know there's people out there say there's some pretty good stuff out there, but I don't know. I just like mainstream music, I guess. Music that is known, I guess. I know, I'm being... I don't know what the word is, but I'm being that guy. The one that... Um, doesn't want to give some music a chance. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I guess I'm just moving on down to his belt. So I'm going to have to do some highlights on this leather. The leather does contrast with the red, there's no doubt. But the problem is it doesn't contrast a lot, so you need a good... Now here I'm going to be... I probably won't be terribly careful because I haven't painted the bone things he's got on his belt. They look like... I want to say bone daggers, but they're not. They just look like spikes or whatever. I'm gonna treat them like they're made of bone. Now this, I'm using a really small brush, so the problem here is, of course, really small brush means I have to get a lot of paint on my brush. I'm constantly refilling my brush, but I don't want to get a lot of extra paint on these bone daggers. Seeing as this is supposed to be some kind of, I think this is like a brown wash. It's called Desolate Brown. And it is actually a pretty good, it's almost as, I wouldn't say it's quite as good as the Wasteland Brown. But the Wasteland Brown is way, wait, is this the Desolate Brown? Actually, this might not be. Oh, actually, this is Game Color. Never mind. The Desolate Brown contrast paint is a much darker paint, but it's meant to be like Wasteland Brown. This is very much like Wasteland Brown in its pigment coloring, but it doesn't. It's not a. Wasteland Brown is a contrast paint or express paint from Vallejo. They're both from Vallejo, but I find the this. I don't know. This guy's got a lot of these bone things on him. Continue to keep touching up. I've got a few spots. Once I get to the highlighting portion of things, it's getting all the, and that basically meaning once I've gotten all the leather parts covered up. actually all the stuff that needs to be painted color, I'll go back with the highlights and start adding that in. Hoping I can get to that soon, if not tonight. Right, hopefully, after I get all these guys. I've almost got everything painted on this guy, so. This color, I purposely picked it because it is it's a full pigmented paint. In other words, it's game color. Game color is Vallejo's game color paints or game color line is actually really good. It's got a nice solid pigment. It will show through against most colors. Even their moon yellow, which is a game color, it's pretty good. It does struggle a little bit with like going on top of dark colors like black, but if you put like a base light, something a little lighter underneath it, it'll work great. Like put I don't know, like a brown underneath it or something. Light brown, like a sand brown or a tan, something like that. And then the moon yellow will pop right out, even if the underlayment is black. Now you may ask, if you're somebody who generally watches me when I'm gaming, why aren't you gaming lately? The answer is, uh, no particular reason. I gamed a little bit earlier in the week. I played Borderlands 2, which was it was fun. Problem is, I'm not sure if I got to figure out my settings because it kept crashing. OBS kept crashing while I was playing it. So there's something off when I play it. I don't know if I have to change I don't know, something. Which is funny because it's a cartoon game. I mean, in other words, graphics are good, but they shouldn't be that taxing, especially for an older game like that. So I don't know what the deal is. Cause I got a good video card, and I'm running a lot of. I mean, I have no trouble running Baldur's Gate 3 or Diablo 4, which are way newer, probably much more hardware intensive. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Now, I am getting a little bit on these bone things that he's got on his belt, but it's okay. Once I go back and do the actual bone parts, it'll fix it. He's even got a rope here, which is not great because that adds more colors, and I don't know, like, I don't really want to add more colors. They could make it into a black rope, I guess. Black goes with everything, right? Funny how this stuff goes on pretty brown, but it actually fades away pretty fast to a lighter brown. I mean, it's not funny, haha. It's like funny, interesting. So I have to, and then I laugh like it's funny, haha. But no, that's not. I just am laughing at my pointing it out. You gotta humor yourself. You can't humor others. One of the things I do need to do, I haven't done in a while, is play another round of Frosthaven. In fact, I was pointing out to some friends. I was looking at my 2023 board games that I played, and I go, "This is pretty pathetic. I barely played any games, and as far as my board game output goes." And they were like, "But you played Frosthaven a bunch of times," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess that does count." I don't know. I just for some reason I did not count my Frosthaven outings. Something about playing a solo game. I guess I wasn't recording them on my, because I use the was it Board Game Geek Stats app? Basically, I don't know who makes it. I don't know if it's made by Board Game Geek, but there's whoever makes it. It syncs with your Board Game Geek stats, and then it'll do this cool little. At any period of your time you want, you can do last year, last month, whatever, last week, what games you played, and you can, do a little. It'll do this little image thing. It's kind of cool. Show you what all you played for a given year time. And I saw people were posting that, and I said, "How are they doing that?" And they go, "Oh, Board Game Geek Stat app." And I go, "Really? I have that, and I use it, so I'll go see what I got." And they're like, "Oh, I played only 9 games." That's pretty bad. It might have been like 11 when you count the multiples, but it was. I think that don't sound right. So I'm thinking I just was very bad at keeping track. Some days, like I'm on a roll, like we'll be playing a game, and I'll be sure to record everything I play that day. And then other times, I think I don't. But I need to be more deliberate about that. See if I can get a better set of stats. Not sure why this one's coming out. It's the same paint. I don't know if this one's just like, if it's separated weird or what. I don't know if he's been injured or what, because why has he got wraps on his foot? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why does this guy have wraps on his foot? It's like, Yeah, he sprained his ankle in his last battle. He doesn't have the other foot wrapped, so it's not like a, you know, support thing. He does like a football player wraps their ankles so they don't twist their ankle. Like, is he worried about this ankle? Has he had a bad ankle throughout his life? He's a demon lord. He's probably had a fair amount of conflict. He probably just overworked it. Strain injury. I don't know why that one's so much lighter, or why it's so much weirder. It's like trying like almost like tan, but it's the same paint. I know, because it's coming from the same spot. All right, what else we got? What else is leather that I'm missing? I think that's actually all. Oh no, he's got leather wraps on his hair. I forgot about that. Plus, I do have to kind of start figuring out. I'm using Gorgon Brown on this because like I said, this is like a game color version of Wasteland Brown. Just basically what that means is Wasteland Brown is an express paint that makes this perfect leather look, but it really only works good on, I mean, at least in my opinion, it's really only good on light colors. Express paints, in general, I'm finding express paints work best on light colors. Just because the dark colors just don't seem to. You just have to put so many more layers, and I don't think it plays right. Now, an interesting thing is I've been using these. What do you call it? Color shifters. And color shifters are very interesting in that they're very thin, like an airbrush or a contrast paint, and they look different depending on what you put them on. It's like the armor on this character looks like purple using color shifter, but when you put it on a light color, it looks like, I don't know, almost like a beige. And so it's shifting, but it's based on the color you put it on. I thought it would shift based on the light, and maybe it does slightly, I don't know, but I think it really just, because it's so thin, I think it has to do with how much light is passing through it, and I think less light passes through it. Less light passes through it if it's dark or light, whatever you want to call it. But more of the color is pointed off, and when a lot of color is reflected, like off of a white, it looks light. But when a lot of the color is absorbed, it looks purple. It's really kind of weird. But it looks cool. And that's just the one I'm using here. I've used other colors. I do notice that the color shifters seem to have a better play on dark colors. I don't know why. I don't like putting a lot of different colors on things if I can help it. If I really got to have like another color here, I'll probably use like a black. No leather straps work, but I'm just not big on having a bunch of color. So I'm going to have to use highlights and stuff to try to pop these a little bit. Hey, if anybody knows anybody out there looking for a C# sequel, I'm gonna ask a C# sequel or SSRS coder developer with lots of years of experience in those areas. Do let me know. I got a little bit of Azure, but not enough that I'm going to be able to like say, oh yeah, I'm an Azure expert. Nope, I got a little bit. I know enough to get myself in trouble. But that's about it. I am working on a web team right now, so I'm learning that stuff, but it's slow going because this team doesn't do much new stuff. So we're like, a lot of the stuff I'm learning is just how to support it, where to go to look up problems, but we don't do much in terms of new development. So that's why I'm looking for new work. If anybody's got any leads, it'd have to be remote, obviously, if it's not in the Northwest, because, well, I'm not going to move. I'm not planning to move. But hey, if it's in Colorado, maybe. It's one place. My wife and I have talked about moving. Nebraska, maybe, but I don't really want to move to Nebraska. It's not too bad, but I just would rather. Colorado's just more central. It'll be better when I get my X cases developed anyway. I'll be nice and central for my traveling to various conventions. Okay. Nope. Just as I was ready to say I was done, I noticed I missed a spot. Alright, think I've got it all covered. Yep. Alright, so now Now I've got everything browned as I had hoped it would eventually be. It's time for me to get a little bit more of my silver. It's really, well, that really watered up. I don't even know if that's usable at this moment. That's that really watered up. I don't even think it's going to carry enough. There's these plates on his elbow, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get enough paint. It's so watered down right now. Huge amounts of separation in the paint, and I don't think it's going to... It's just like my wet palette made it way wet. And if I don't... And these paints are so thin to begin with. Once they get... It's almost like... I actually heard that with some paints, like contrast paints and some of the other really thin paints, you don't even use a wet palette because it's just too... Now granted, they will dry up if you don't, over time, but they're gonna get watered down. They're not gonna hold well in there, while they're sitting on the palette. So by the next day, paints might not be too good. So. And I am finding that to be a true statement. So, because they just carry so much, they're already so thin. Once you put them on a wet palette, they're just like waiting to be. Here I am kind of going into touch-up mode, where I'm going to try to hit the spots that. I missed, or that have paint where they shouldn't. Just try to. Thought I saw something that had paint. I didn't want it, but I can't find it now. Oh, there it is. Hey. Well, the leather's looking pretty leathered up. And then we're going to go ahead and start putting on some, I guess, highlights. I guess I'm to that point. Pretty sure this is my brick red. Yeah. Just touching up those areas I messed up with the brick red. or messed up by getting other colors on my brick red. And then I'll go back and start doing touch-ups. Or not touch-ups, highlights. So we're really close to being, I won't say really close to done, but I'm way closer to done than I was. Let's just say that. I'm closer than I used to be. As I try not to get it in places anew, causing me more need to go back and fix and other stuff. I didn't realize, but there's a whole lot of red missing from this cloak between the tail and the skull that's down here. You know, one of the things I've noticed that people don't really show online, all these really good painters, they never show themselves touching up anything. It's always like, yep, and you follow this and this and this and you're all done and it's perfect. And it's like they don't make any mistakes. But you know what? They're all pre-recorded, so I'm pretty sure they're just cutting out all the oopsies. I'm hoping that's what... I mean, I know they're good, but come on, they don't ever make mistakes. They never have to clean anything up. How can they be that good? How can anybody be that good? I mean, how do they prevent like the brush simply just slipping? Not out of their hand, but like the brush bristles hit like a spot and just kind of flake to the left or flake to the right. I mean, come on, people. Show your true colors. Show me the truth. Like, show me the money. Show me the facts, man. No, you can't be perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm having trouble with the angle here. Trying not to get it on this part. I don't want it, but yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. People like use those big old #2 brushes, and they just don't miss anything. They can use it on all the little pokey parts. I'm like, how do you do that? It's like there's no way. A brush, even if it's got a nice pointy tip, it's like you just can't get into places. The brush itself will hit stuff. I don't know how they do it. Just trying to get all the spots that aren't supposed to have shiny paint. Now I could easily just like drop another drop of this paint down. Probably be just as easy as trying to re-moisten what I have, but this is such a small small amount of paint. I don't want to get out more paint just for this little thing, you know? So I'm just going around trying to take away the flaws, the major flaws, before I go try and start doing highlights. Sometimes I wonder too, it's like, did it just fade here or did I miss it? The airbrush not managed to get through. It's perfectly reasonable to expect that it just didn't get through, right? 'Cause there's a lot of angles. I'm probably getting a little too picky. So I get some of these spots, I'm thinking, I'm just risking touching stuff that shouldn't be touched. And it's like, nobody's going to be able to see that again. It's too close to anything. It's too small. And especially if I go through and start putting some highlights on stuff, it's probably not going to show at all. I already touched up some of this color yesterday, so there's not a lot of area that I missed. I haven't painted this bone yet. I'm probably avoiding doing so because I'm still trying to get certain areas covered before I do that. Alright, so let's do one more chunk of this red here. And that's because I have this big spot here I didn't realize I missed completely. The red. I gotta get it in there, so it's gonna take, I'm gonna try not to get too much on the surrounding areas. But I will get some on because, well, it's just too narrow a spot. Alright, I think we're getting there. Still not a, oops. Putting in my spare water bottle. Oops, I didn't start my timer. Oops, I'm not doing Santa either. What the heck? Why am I on that one? My Demon Lord. So you might notice, you may or may not notice that one of the tags I have on this is Etsy miniatures. This is an Etsy miniature, and this is one of the most recent ones I bought. So if you were to go look at like my my last Etsy miniatures review, you'll see what I said. Now this is a good mini. I mean, it's a nice looking mini, but this weapon that it came with, the mace, they did not cut it out of the mold at all. I mean, they printed it and shipped it to me with all the stents attached. Every single one of them was just this big tree of stents with the head all, with the whole mace all just tangled up inside of it. And I had to very carefully. Now the thing is, from what I understand, the best time to remove those straight out of the mold, straight out of the resin printer, because they're wet, they're damp, they're weak, and you can almost peel them off. Once they've been totally set, they're attached to everything, and now you got to go carefully cut them off so you don't break anything. And boy, that was not cool. I was not impressed that they did that. I was like, seriously, you're gonna make me cut this off? This is your job, or at least I feel like it is. My feeling is the maker of said product should be the ones cutting off the crap. I should not have to cut that off. Now, it's one thing to see little remnants and you go back and you have to cut it off yourself, but I should not have to do the bulk of it. That was not cool. It was a very careful, a very painstaking, time-consuming task. I'll tell you that. Probably didn't even need to use the. So I kind of have him using the same metal all around. It's like I'm not using like different color metals and stuff. This is really all the same. The chain, everything. The chain just has silver added to it. It's a little bit more silver, but it's not. It's not a different silver. It's the same color shifting color. I just added a little bit more silver so that there'd be more pigment. It seemed to do the trick pretty good. I like this color shifting metallic. I don't know why. This one is a silver and violet. It's pale violet and silver. And it actually looks like a very strong colored violet on dark, but then when it gets on the light, it looks very, well, you don't even see a lot of the violet. It's weird. But I added some silver pigment, again, like I said, to help it show a little bit more silvery on the chain and a couple other places. I just wanted it to be darker because it was a little too not dark. Is that a word? Is that a phrase? Is that an appropriate description? Too not dark. Too much without darkness. So I added on the arms, which I thought were a little too light too, I added a little bit more of the silver-based version of it also. Although I didn't mind the white completely, so I left some of it. I might go back through and use that with the straight-up white over the top once I get to that But I think I'm about at the point where I got to paint these final bones. Start getting everything. He's got a lot of bones. Now I'm just going to use my favorite bone color, the most bone-like bone color. It's skeleton bone. It's actually this one. It's one of the new Air Army Paint Air colors. I've struggled to find a good color that was bone that was just straight out of the bottle good, because there's all these techniques and stuff that people use that are supposed to get, but it's like oh yeah, this is a really good combo. It's really easy to do. And he's got like 6 different color paints. It's like, that's not easy. I'm sorry, 6 colors of paint to get the bone color. It's like, there's got to be a more direct way to get the bone color I want. And I've been trying all kinds of different colors, and finally I found one I like. Now this is closer to a bleached bone, like a bone that's been sitting out in the sun a little bit, but it's that kind of very kind of dead. Just a skeleton bone may not be what do you call it? Not a skeleton bone, but I don't know, like a living skeleton where it's still got blood flowing and all that nonsense. Probably could be more what do you call it? A little bit more lively, maybe add a little bit more color to it. But maybe not. I don't know. I'm using it a little bit more on these bones here that I feel are a bit more like they might actually be skulls. There's a difference between those that I feel like are skulls, and then there's the ones that I feel like are just that are actual bones that he may have, like from victory over whatever being that he last destroyed. And then there's the parts that I think are just for show, and they're meant to be more. Like they're not actual bones, but they might be made out of a metal or something else, which look like it. They're painted, but they have a metallic look. And I originally painted all of them with the metallic bone look, but I've decided that some of these are not actual fake bones. I think they're actual real bones. So that's all I'm doing right now is painting those up. Once those get painted and all the little bone spikes in his belt are done, I think that is the last of the things that are unpainted on this guy in their gold color. Then it'll be just a matter of finishing touches, you know. Oh, what time I started. I'll have to check my stream again. So I started recording late, of course, because I always do. Stopped recording how long, what figure I'm painting. And I kind of like trying to keep track of how much time I'm spending on each mini. This guy's getting a fair amount of my time. But he is closing in on complete. He's getting in that zone. He's got a fair amount of parts. They're gonna need touch-ups or like highlighting. Like I gotta get some black in his eyes, and I've got to get bone on his. I got a lot of parts that are gonna need to be given the highlight treatment. He's got this rope that connects everything, and I'm like, how am I going to paint that? What color do I paint that? Just black is what I could say what I'm thinking. Because that's going to be, it's like, I don't want too many colors. I don't want to change the color of the rope. The rope is usually a light color, or it could be a tan color, but either way, it's a color that's not already on this guy, and I'm afraid of having too many different colors. It's like, no, I've done that before. It doesn't look good when you get too many colors. This, not when I've done it. Now there are washes I'll probably try to put on this guy too, to try to help with popping out some of the highlights. This is by no means a wash. It's just a straight up bone color. I kind of like to get the teeth to pop a little bit more. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and start doing those spikes, and we should be almost done. It's the last thing that's not colored. These spikes. I've been going for almost an hour. Wow. And this is the fun part of trying not to get my bone color back on the leather I just painted. Because the more leather I touch, the more I have to touch up. Maybe. If I can keep it close enough, the shading later should do it. If as long as I don't get too far off. Like you just go off by a fraction of a hair or something, it'll be fine. Because the highlighting I'll do, or the shading I do later, it's just you don't want to get it in places that the shading won't reach. Because the shading goes just into the crevices. So if you like get it on the crevice, you'll be fine. But the get it too far away, and you have to actually go back and touch it up. I'm always so impressed by how fast some of those really good painters. Up, see, I got paint in places that one didn't want. I think part of it is my paint kind of dries a little bit on this little brush, and this little brush, it doesn't hold moisture very well. It's too little, so you end up having to come back around and moisten it. And if I do too many things at once, it starts drying up. I don't know if these are considered a before or an after. In other words, you paint these guys before the thing they're on. I think you have to paint them. I don't know. You could probably paint them either way. They're just. It's going to be challenging no matter what, because there's overlapping colors here. And overlapping colors will always make for a little bit of a challenge, I think, especially when they're little spaces. Oh look, I found another bone that was never, it's just a bone. I don't even know what that's attached to. It's just like sitting up here on his belt. Plus, I keep resting on my arms, which the corners of this table are not soft. And they're like cutting off the circulation of my arms. cutting off the circulation of my arms. I'm leaving dents in my arms. There we go. Whew. You got all the spikes? Oh no, there's still spikes on the other side. Those are just the ones on this side of him. Thought I went all the way around. All right, so I really need to start wrapping it up here for this round. I will probably be back online later. Don't know what I'll be doing. I might be playing video games. I don't know. Friday night gaming. Because I also want to finish this guy. And I got stuff going on tomorrow night. Somewhere. It's either going to be here at home or at game night. If you do. But the game night's going on regardless. So if you're so inclined and you live in the northwest Seattle area, or north-ish Seattle area, which what are the odds, right? I mean, that's probably a pretty slim picking chance, unless you happen to be the one or two of the people I know that actually watch my stream. Other than that, you're welcome to come join us. We play at Maltby Christian Assembly about every other week, and we play in the rec room, which is downstairs towards the back. Just drive around the back, and you'll see cars down there around 5 o'clock. Doors open, I think, around 5 or 4 or something like that. Come at 5, you'll definitely find us there, or find whoever's gaming there. There will be people there, I'm sure, unless we cancel. But I don't think they're canceling this week. I think this is pretty much an on week. They don't cancel very often. It happens if just too many of our regulars are just not able to make it, because the regulars are they're the what is it called? The base of all of our gaming. Now, I'm a regular, I guess. I mostly am pretty good at showing up, but the problem is I've gotten a job now that's got me working Saturdays a lot, so I don't show up as often as I used to. We have others that have been known to be pretty regular who are also kind of going through a phase of working on weekends. It's screwing with their plans. So yeah, we don't have as consistent as we were, but still pretty good. Okay. I am just using this now for highlights. Trying to pop out some of these bone areas to get a little bit more consistency. My thought is, this guy is, like I said, these are fake skulls, so there's a fair amount of metallic on them, but I just wanted these teeth to look a little bit more teethy. Like maybe he actually uses real teeth embedded in the metal of the skull here. And I'll get a little more of the reflective on the skull in a bit, but like I said, I'm trying to go for kind of a real tooth effect versus the metal effect of the rest of the skull. A little less glimmer and glow, but just more ornery teeth, Like, there was some effort put into these skulls. Made them out of metal and embedded actual teeth into them. I don't know if my nose is greasy or what. My glasses keep sliding down my nose. They don't have a hook much around the ear, so they're not really holding onto my ear. They're more just sitting on my ear, which is throwing me off a bit. I keep losing my glasses. Just keep sliding down my face. I'm not sure what I think of that. Not a fan. I don't think I'm sweating. Alexa, turn off heater. I don't feel hot or anything, but I don't know. Maybe something's going on there. Hey, so if gotta do it, my PSA? No, my sure, it's a PSA. No, it's my self advertisement. Hey, check out the if you're into miniatures like these, you like to collect them, like to paint them, like to store them, like to display them or transport them to your local game store. Check out the X Case and the Mage Cage on YouTube and and Instagram, and go check out Active Minds, not Active Mind Gamer, but Active Minds Games. That's the name of my business. My name is just a play on that, transition to that. Go check it out. You'll see some cool videos, and you'll see some cool pictures of what you can do with the Mage Cage and the X Case. They are pretty awesome, I will say so myself, and I will say that most of the people, in fact, I think pretty much everybody who's ever bought them from me, I've sold like 15 to 20,000 of them in the life of their existence. But one thing I never did good, or did smartly, was plan for future production runs. And so what ended up happening was we created these brand new, really cool, clear ones that I did on a Kickstarter of a few years back. And the Kickstarter did pretty well. I mean, for the most part. And but I only made enough. It was all about succeeding enough to get the production run paid for, so that I wasn't in danger of going into debt. What ended up happening was they sold so fast. I was like, cool. It only took a couple months, but I don't have enough product to make more. So this time we're going to make enough product to make more, and we're making cool new products. We're going to make a bigger case. We're going to make a bigger case, and we're going to make some cool inserts that go in them that hold your paints. We're just going to do all kinds of pretty cool stuff with this Kickstarter. It's going to be a big Kickstarter, so we need your help. And the way we're doing this is we're going to actually launch the date of the Kickstarter, or announce the date of the Kickstarter based on when we get 800 followers on Facebook, also under Active Minds Games. So if you like the product, you really like how cool they are, those videos and pictures that are showing off what they do, say, hey man, these are from me, go to Facebook and go to Active Minds Games and follow us on that page. And once we hit 800 followers there, we will announce, probably within a month or two, our Kickstarter will launch of that date. And then we will try to get that production run started and get those new cases out with all the cool shelf inserts. And man, I'm excited for those shelf inserts. They're going to be so cool, man, I'm telling you. The shelf inserts, the paint inserts, where you can take out an entire slot of paint, put them on your table, and then use them, and then put them back in, and put away. All good to go. But and then the shelves are configurable. They have drawers of various sizes you can get. That'll allow you to just carry all kinds of tokens and game supplies that go with your miniature, so you don't have to have a separate bag. They can all go inside the case with you. Anyway, here we are. As he gets closer and closer, all parts are now painted on him. He doesn't, well, sort of. I guess I got the horns on his helmet down there, but we'll get to those next. I'll probably paint those the same color that I'm going to do the bone highlights. So it'll probably be a wash of some kind or something of that color. But otherwise, we're getting pretty close. Now we're going to start doing the highlights on his hair and start popping the colors, get his eyes and ears painted, and really kind of get that going in that. So yeah, he's getting close. He is looking pretty good. At least it says me. What do I know, right? Just gotta figure out how to lean him back enough though, so that I can take a picture of him with some light on him. I don't know how I did it yesterday. Oh, there we go. Alright, so progress photo. Let's go ahead and add 30 more minutes to that. Oh wow, no, let's probably add an hour to that. Okay, let's go here, take a snap. Now I don't like the, now this app is really cool. I'm at this brush rage. However, it does not take good pictures. It stores very low quality, low res pictures, and if you want to have better res images using this app on your progress photos, I recommend taking the photo and then just linking it to the image. I think you'll be happier about it. Yeah, once those eyes are done, it'll look pretty cool. Eyes and mouth and hair and highlights. Anyway, so that's it for me for now. And yeah, check out the X case and the Mage Cage. Let me know what you think. Leave comments if you like these kind of videos. If there's any kind of particular thing you'd like to ask, or you'd like to, see me paint. I don't know. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I'll buy some other miniature on Etsy and paint it. Maybe I'll give something away. I don't know. I haven't done that yet. I tried to give one away to one of my Patreon followers, because I was doing that for a bit, but he never replied. I couldn't get his address or information in order to actually ship it to him, so that was a problem. Still backing me, but he's just generous and didn't actually. Multiple emails. But who knows? Maybe that person will be back and I'll get a chance to paint something for him and send it off. And I'll do that more as I get more Patreon backers. I have not very many right now. So once I get enough that it's, a little bit, there's actually a drawing to be had, it's like just pick one of the 3 guys that are currently backing you. At some point you want to start having some synergy, some reason. So yeah. I'll do that stuff again. I'll give stuff away. I don't know what kind of stuff to do exclusive on Patreon. I'm not that creative, but I'll think of something at some point. But I do appreciate the backing. All the money I get from Patreon and any other form of way you donate to me is going back into my streams and or into getting these X cases, Mage Cages made. Get that Kickstarter launched. So that's it. None of it goes to me. Not really. I mean, it's not going to me in the sense that I'm going to go out and buy dinner yet. Now, of course, if I get some significant flow from it, and there's actually anything that, well beyond getting things launched, maybe I'll be able to take advantage of the wonderful gifts you guys have provided to me. But until then, you take it easy, and I'll see you next time.